while that's cooling down, I'm going to show you what to do with leftover candles. So you can reuse the wax, pour it into another container, or just get rid of the wax and use the container for something else. So we're going to use the same pot, put a little bit more, well, I think it's got enough water in there already. And I brought two that I don't care for. This one is very old. See, it was not the right wick for the container. This is an uneven burn, obviously. Too small on the wick. This one was a birthday cake candle, and it was an experiment. I didn't have my birthday cake, what do you call that? Scent, I guess. So I used vanilla extract, almond extract, cinnamon, nutmeg, everything I had in my pantry.
It smells pretty nice.
It's actual cooking extracts that you use. It smells okay, it's just not strong enough for me. And plus I wanted to see what it would do if I put Stephanie's honey around the jar and then put these sprinkles on it. Some people ask, will they burn, will they turn black? I haven't had that. If it gets next to the flame, I haven't noticed that my candles do that at all. Maybe I've just been lucky, I don't know. But I'm gonna go ahead and put these in here in hot water. And after a while, it will all melt down, and I'm going to get rid of all the wax. Actually, first I'm going to get rid of the wick because I want to reuse the wax. So I'm going to cut the burn part of the wick off so it doesn't get
Do you want to make sure that whatever candle that you're going to reuse the jar for like food stuff, that you completely clean out the jar?
Yes. Yeah. When you melt the wax down completely, pour out as much as you can, wipe out as much as you can with a paper towel. You can put it in your dishwasher if it is not paraffin and if it's not pure beeswax, because those will clog your sink.
Can you use like rubbing alcohol and stuff to clean?
Yeah, you can. So whatever you can use, and you don't have to wash it out with warm soap and water and risk the wax getting down there. If you've melted it down enough and you've wiped it out enough, you don't have to worry about that because it's not going to be that much. I'll show you. But you can use rubbing alcohol and you don't even have to worry about your sink.
Cool.
But I need to get rid of the wick first.
The burnt wick, right?
Yes, just the burnt wick.
So you're just snipping out the burnt wick.
Yes, I'm going to go over to you. Destiny, can you open that trash can? And I'm just going to go down as far into the wax and snip it off. Oops. Get rid of as much as I can, and that way it won't turn your wax black. And also, when you're working with the water, you want to try not to get water in your wax. Okay.
So you said don't let the water bubble up into the wax.
Yes.
Okay. All right, how are we looking?
Okay, it's just below 140 right now, between the 135 and 140. I'm going to go ahead and start pouring.
Okay.
And you can see where these are starting to melt down. So we can reuse the wax in a different container. Okay. So you want to try to do a slow, even pour. And one of the questions people has is, once you heat this up, does everything just sink to the bottom? It hasn't happened yet because when you lower the temperature, it
How long do they usually take to cool down?
oh shoot, this one came out. I've got to redo that one. You have to let them cure for 48 to 72 hours before you burn them. And after you pour them, you want to make sure that you leave them somewhere that they can cure. I am pulling these things out. I didn't put enough glue on the bottom of that. Yeah, so once you, especially bigger candles, once you pour the wax, you want to leave them in the spot, because if you move them and you jostle them around, it can get air bubbles in there.
Does that affect it when it's burning?
It affects yeah, it can, because it can tunnel down your wick, and then the pour won't go evenly across the entire surface of your candle. And if you'll notice that candle there, you want the burn pool to go all the way across the entire surface and then a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch down, and that's the perfect ratio of wick to container. Okay, let's see. Do any of these need a little more
There's this one.
than the others? Okay. Are there any, are those 2 wicks attached here and the other 2 small ones there well enough that they're not pulling out?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll use these. And then I want to leave a little bit in the bottom
Oh,
of...
this one came out.
Okay. Then I'm going to leave a little bit in the bottom of this pan here, the pitcher, so that I can top them off if they start sinking or tunneling or just some look a little lower than the others. So I'm going to leave that there. And now we're going to make sure the wicks are centered.
Yeah, 'cause I did notice that some of the wicks are kind of flopping.
Yes, and they'll do this when you put the larger containers in the oven to warm. This is what your wicks are going to look like. They're all going to start flopping over, and it's okay because you just pull them back up. And make sure your wick is centered as best you can in the middle of the container.
Nice. That's a cool hack. What happens if your container is bigger than your
You can
clothespin?
use all kinds of, look, you can do one,
Oh.
Like this 2-wick candle?
yeah. You can use pencils and pens to just, like secure it up. You can use popsicle sticks with a hole drilled in the middle of it. They also, at a candle making supply store, they sell wick
Like holders.
holders.
That's cool.
And so, once again, once you pour it and get them centered, you want to try to leave them undisturbed so that they won't develop bubbles, or so that you're not knocking the wick to one side or the other and it develops a tunnel.
I think they're turning out great.
Yeah, you can see the outside is already starting to cure. Soy wax is more forgiving than beeswax. Beeswax has a tendency to, once the wax is shocked onto the container and the outside cools first, beeswax sinks. I've noticed that because I used to only use soy wax, and when I started combining it, I noticed that it started sinking in the middle. And I never had that problem before, and it was the beeswax is heavier. So, yeah, you can already tell that the outsides are starting to cool faster than the inside. So we'll just keep an eye on that. It's not so much a problem because I use a little more soy than beeswax for 2 reasons. That reason, but beeswax is much more expensive than soy as well. So I need some of Stephanie's or Pop's beeswax.
Cool. So we wait.
Yes.
They smell so good.
They do smell good. All right, so it's only been like 3 minutes, and she's already gonna take these off.
So I'm going to take it off just so I can
Decorate the top.
decorate the top with a little bit. I have not found that the candies that I use turn black or start burning once it gets, because I don't put, I try to not heap it on top of where the
The wick is.
wick is. And I also don't like weigh it down with a lot of it either.
That's pretty.
So we're just going to do this and decorate a little bit more. And we weigh it, of course, so it doesn't just sink to the bottom. And then I've got to put the wick holder back on because I can see that some of it is... I don't want it to be off center, otherwise it won't have an even burn hole. Like this one's off center, I'm going to move it over just a little bit and force it to the center. And put these back on.
Very cool.
Very pretty. Okay.
These are pretty much melted down. Well, this one needs a little bit more time, but
Destiny was asking, how do you pull these out without burning yourself because they're so hot now? I just take a paper towel and really firmly grasp the edge. And then I want to put it on something else like to get the water, because you don't want water in your wax. So to make sure it's not.
this is an extra pot that you brought?
This is a new pot.
Okay.
That's the one that's got my peppermint in it, the leftover peppermint. So I'm just going to pour it in here. And there goes my wick. Oh, it didn't. Good. It's just wax that hasn't melted yet. Okay, I'm going to leave the candies in there because I don't want that in my thing anymore anyway. Okay, this one's going to be kind of tricky because it's wide and short.
Do you want a pot holder? Like a boss.
And, ooh, whoa. Okay,
Slippery.
then you can dig this out with a knife or something, or you can see if it'll pull out, I'm not sure. Yeah, okay. And then you want to really wipe it out well so that if you're going to use hot soap and water, you're not putting a ton of wax down your drain. Or, like Destiny said, use
Alcohol?
alcohol.
Nice. And this one.
And these are reusable now.
Cool.
Looks pretty brand new.
So, and then
How will you clean this one out? Just the same way, just like a little bit of elbow grease? Or are you going to melt this one down a little bit more?
it's really, really hot right now with those candies in there. So I'm just going to get rid of the wick. And let's see if I can get some of this out.
Yum.
Yeah, look at it. Yummy. Okay. Yeah, you just have to keep wiping. Got some of it out.
Okay.
And then you would just melt this down.
And re-pour it?
Yes. And because I'm going to add birthday cake scent to it. It's a vanilla, creamy, buttery. I'm going to go ahead and bring it back up to probably about 175 because it's already been melted before. But I'm going to make sure it's well incorporated, add my fragrance, and then I'm going to probably wash this back out and do it again.
Cool. All right, quick sidebar while my mom is making the Highboy Cowboy scented candles. So excited for that. She brought me something that she made herself, and I'm gonna try it out. And I've already tried it out on the back of my hand, and it's so much different than the other side of my hand, a lot softer and smoother. She made an organic facial cleanser using just coconut oil and honey. She used a double broiler to melt down 1/4 cup organic coconut oil mixed with 1/3 cup raw honey, and she melted that down together. She said she hasn't tried it yet in the microwave, but you may be able to use a microwave too. Just put it in a microwave safe or a glass container where you can stir it and heat it up to where it's in a melted consistency. And I'll show you what it looks like. Destiny and I tried it out on the back of our hand, and it's kind of like, whoop, it reminds me of the sorghum. When I rendered down the sorghum, it looks like that. It's almost got a molasses type consistency, but she wrote this note. It says, combine honey with oil over a double boiler, stir until incorporated, creating an easily spreadable texture. Massage gently into the skin, avoiding sensitive eye areas, and rinse with warm water. It loosens your makeup and detoxifies. It cleans, it purifies. So I'm really excited to try this out on my skin, on my face. And it's winter now, so my skin tends to be kind of dry during the winter time. So I'm really excited to use this, and I will let you know how it turns out. Okay, before we wrap up this video, Mom is going to go over some frequently asked questions and just touch on some of the things that she's learned along the way.
Yes, because when you, like I said earlier, when you do something for a while, you forget what you didn't know, so I'm going to give you my beginner notes that I started with so I don't forget something to tell you. So a brief list of candle making supplies that you'll need: the wax, the wicks, containers, double boiler pan and your pitcher, wick stickers, double-sided tape, hot glue, a wick centering device, which I'm using clothespins because it's a smaller container, a thermometer, a whisk, wick trimmer or scissors, a kitchen scale to measure your wax and your fragrance oils if you're going to put any in, warning labels, which are here, just says to prevent fire, burn candle within sight, keep out of reach of children and pets, never burn the candle or near anything that can catch fire, keep wick trimmed to 1/4 inch. Some wicks contain zinc and cotton cores. Okay, so your candle wax, there can be beeswax, soy wax, paraffin. There's another supply to tell you about, and it's the silicone tray. When you have leftover wax, if you try to pre-measure, sometimes you don't always get it right. Also, when you're putting candy or something in it, it takes up some of the space that the wax will use. So if you'll have one of these, it comes in handy for leftover wax, and then you just label a little baggie with what it is. Like this would be peppermint, so I can use it for my next set of candles that I'm making peppermint. Okay, so you just want to get the wick to container ratio right, as far as the size of the wick, depending on the ratio of your the diameter of your container. Let's see. Preparing your containers, you want to make sure they're clean and dry. Just wipe them out with a towel, or you can wash them in the dishwasher and wipe them out. Let's see. You're going to measure and melt your wax. We showed you how to measure that. You're going to measure your fragrance oils. When you're adding your essential oils, I bring my temperature up to 185, take it off the heat, stir it for 2 minutes with the fragrance, and then I bring it back down to 135, 140. And for larger containers like these here, you can use multiple wicks. You're going to size down your wick. Instead of using one that would be for a 4-inch container, I used 4 2-inch wicks. Reuse anything you have. And then you want to try to leave them undisturbed and at a good distance apart, at least 2 inches apart, so they have plenty of airflow around it when they're curing, to avoid the cracking, the tunneling, the water spots. Let's see. And when you're cleaning up your candle supplies, you want to wipe out your pitcher as soon as you can after you've poured all your candles and any leftover. It's easier to clean up. And you can just, if it's soy wax, you can use warm water and soap. Any of them you can do that, but just make sure you clean out as much wax as you can so it does not clog up your sink, because it will. And then just let them harden at room temperature, and then send your wick to a quarter of an inch.
When do we trim these?
You need to let these cure for 48 to 72 hours before you trim the wick. And you want to try to leave them undisturbed so that they don't cause tunneling or bubbles near the wick.
Okay. So we'll have to do that tomorrow.
Yes. So tomorrow she can trim the wicks and they'll be ready to go. One thing with beeswax, if you're going to use beeswax, the container can get very, very hot. So try not to touch it just after you've extinguished it or while it's burning. Try not to move it while it's burning, because it can burn your hands. Let's see, and when you're burning your candle for the first time, the rule of thumb is burn it for 1 hour per diameter of your container to get the burn pool to have a memory, so it'll burn all the way across evenly, and hopefully it won't tunnel down or burn to one side. And if you do see that it's burning to one side, it could be a draft in the room from the vent, an open window. Even a high traffic area will cause a breeze to keep flickering the flame. So just try turning your candle a little bit so it'll get that memory. If it does just tunnel down and it doesn't burn all the way across, then something within the blend of the ratios that we used, or the wick was underwicked, it may just tunnel down, and you just have to keep experimenting. But they're fun and easy, and it's just practice, practice, practice. And you want to take notes. The first time you're using it, please take notes. The day, the time, is there humidity? Is it hot out? Is it cold out? The bigger the container, you want to warm them in your oven on warm. After you place the wick inside, wherever, the center of it, or whatever container you're going to use, place the oven on warm. Put all your containers on a cookie sheet, and after you've blended your wax and blended your fragrance and you're waiting for it to cool down to pour temperature, that's when you'll stick it in the oven. Your wicks will fall over, it's fine. Just hold them up like I did when you're pouring it. You just hold them back up and you pour it in there, and then you will use your wick holder to keep it centered.
I was gonna ask, like, what if you cut too much of your wick off? Like, the wick will burn down before the wax, right?
If you cut too much of the wick off,
Yeah.
it may drown out the wick. I'm not
So
sure.
it'll get like too wet and stuff.
Yeah, it can get that way. Let's see, so you're looking for the proper burn pool. Okay, if you want to add color, you add it at the same time you add your fragrance. As soon as you take it off the heat, you just once you've added your fragrance for 2 minutes and make sure it's fully incorporated, then you can put your dyes. You can use candle dye, soap dye, their powders, drops, but you can also use crayons, leftover crayons, broken crayons.
It's pretty cool. I have a ton of leftover broken crayons.
Yes. You just put a little piece in there and you let it melt down with the wax, and then you would take your whisk and on wax paper and just put a few drops on there until it's the color you want. And you just keep adding more, and you can have a colored candle.
Very cool.
But I like my natural, so.
I did ask you earlier, let me find it. Where's the one? Okay, this for example. So when pouring, there was a little bit that dripped on the side up here on the lip of the jar. And my mom said what she does is she takes like a lighter, like a stick lighter, on the edge and melts it, and it just drips back down into the rest of the candle. So that, or you can just take your nail or something and scrape the edge if it's just a little bit, but you can remelt through the glass and it'll reabsorb into the candle, cleaning it up.
When you're working with multiple candles and you want to try to get them all an even depth, you can use the water like I did to find out how many ounces do I want to put in here, what looks good, and then mark it with a piece of tape, painter's tape or something, and use that one as your base. Yeah, like you can fill it to the edge of that.
You just go candle by candle by candle and make sure that it all lines up with this one painter's tape.
If it has a lid, like where the bottom of the lid is, once you screw it on, you can mark a piece of tape there and take the lid off and then start pouring, and that way you know it's not going to be too high for your lid to sit down on. If you don't want to use colors or dyes, you can use colored labels. Just change the color on your ink on your label, because that'll save some supplies there as well. If you do have an uneven pour, if there's lumps or it went up one side, you can take a blow dryer and heat the top of it until the top of it melts back down. If there's a dip because it cooled on the outside faster than the inside and it fell, you can do the same thing, and it'll pull back into the middle and it'll even it back out. There's different tricks. Just look online. Lots of people are willing to help. Recycling your containers. Okay, I had 2 containers that we showed you. I was boiling on the stove to remelt the wax. I went ahead and just re-poured those back into those same containers after I washed them out. And because there were the candies that were inside, it turned it a little bit of a different color.
Tan.
But I also added birthday cake scent. So I made it a little stronger than last time. It's going to take a while. They also say the longer you let it cure, the more the scent binds and the stronger the scent will be. So that is still even less than it will be several days from now.
All right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me and my mom and Destiny today. This is the first time I've ever learned how to make candles. Although it seems that like there's a lot to it, it's really not that much. Mainly it's just getting the ratio of wax scents. Once you've got that, I think it's pretty seamless and easy.
It's just bringing it up to the right temp, cooling it down to the right temp, and
Yeah.
whatever sense you want, when to blend it. And
Yeah.
It's a really great and fun experience.
Awesome.
Learning and stuff, all the learning process.
Yeah, I agree. I think these are going to be really cute in little gift sets, and they smell really good. I probably need to put a disclaimer of not to eat them
Yeah.
because they look like you can eat them.
They topped off.
They look like little like snacks, like little pudding cups or something, but they're adorable, they're cute, and I'm really, really glad that we got this opportunity today to make these and share it with you. So if you are a candle maker, or if you decide to make your own candles, let me know in the comments how it worked out for you. I'd love
Yes,
to.
and if you have any tips and tricks to let us know about.
Yeah, if you make candles and you've got some hacks or some cheats, share them in the comments so that we can all learn from those too. But thank you so much for hanging out with us today. I really appreciate it, and we will catch you on the next one. Bye, guys.